Yeah, baby. Yeah, the Mac is back. Hello, the initiated. My name is Marcus Junikala, and today we're back here with another demo review. This time, again, we're looking at Circle's drum samples stuff. They have a new library called 1987, which is a reference to a year. I was not alive yet during this year, but I heard it was pretty good. And obviously has a very 80s type of a sound. I've only played a few notes of this just to make sure the level is good for the video. I have been sent this library by Circle's drum samples, but all opinions are my own. I haven't been paid to say anything or asked to say anything, so you know, anything good or bad is my opinion. And you're going to be hearing the library on its own. I only have a limiter on my master bus to make sure the volume is good for this video. Why would you be getting this library? Well, I presume you're after the sounds of the 80s, whether you're doing synthwave or, I don't know, classic rock in that time period. Then this might be for you, but I can't yet say that because I actually haven't heard the sounds. So I'm going to take myself to Studio One over here. You should be seeing the same view you just saw, and as you can see from the contact view, we aren't exactly talking about the most refined contact layout here. In fact, you have very little control over that. Now, this is really the way in which Circles has been working so far. And in fact, if you look here into this 1987 folder, you're going to see that it opens up loops, one-shots, samples, and then presets. And we're in the preset folder, and since I'm working with Contact, this is what I'm looking at. So I'm just going to be playing through these in this demo. If you're looking for the one-shots or loops, that's not really what I do, so I'm not going to look at those. But you should be able to get a good idea of the sound quality and style with these few kits as well. All I know is they apparently had a lot of fun making this, so I'm hoping that that is audible. But that's pretty much all I can say. So I've opened up the Dead kit here, and I have to say that based on the few notes I played, really impressive. But let's have a listen. So that's the Dead Kit. Firstly, sounds really, really good, really refined. This, based on this patch alone, this goes even above and beyond what I've heard from them before, and that's a pretty high praise. This is so clean, so tight, and I'm really happy they included this Dead Kit because it gives a lot more versatility, I presume, to this library, because from what I've understood, the other presets are pretty crazy. I don't know, but this is so precise, so focused. What I love is a few things. First of all, the snare is on 2 keys, which really makes playing those fast things so much easier. I have a bit of lag because of the limiter on my master bus, so that's my excuse for my playing. But super tight, super precise. This is really easy to just drop into what you're working on, and it's already in a fantastic place. I'm really genuinely impressed how clean and precise and refined this is. The second thing I love is the cymbals. The hi-hats here are way better than a lot of the cymbal sampling they've done before. There's so much dynamic range here. Listen to this. And that's really been something that was missing. You couldn't really play on a lot of the libraries that I've tried out. It was kind of missing that really low dynamic, and that's there. I think it's really well ramped up. I think I'm maybe missing one last velocity layer, just a bit more oomph on that closed hi-hat, but this is really good. I really like that. The selection of cymbals, really interesting. Obviously they're supposed to sound dead, so that's why they sound the way they do. Not a ton of dynamic range on those, but those can be fun, detailed cymbals to bring kind of a different vibe into what you're doing. Hey there, Cillians. Cillians on YouTube says, oh yeah, it's clearly not the same sound at different volumes. Very nice. Yeah, that's really good stuff that they've actually worked on that. That was a criticism from me before, that I wanted more dynamic range from the cymbals. I think most of the sampling itself was great sounding cymbals, great sampling, but just more dynamic range, and I'm glad to at least hear that on the hi-hat, so that's pretty good. All right, let's go to the next one. So this one is called Octo Snare Kit, and this one is dry. So no idea what to expect, but let's check it out. Okay, that's super fun. First of all, that snare is incredible. That's a really great sounding kit. And I actually love the toms, which again maybe has been an aspect that I wasn't crazy about in many of the previous libraries, but this one, these really smack. That snare is incredible. I'm doing that fill too much, but it's so much fun to play. Again, this is super refined, super pure, clean, punchy. It's so easy to take this into any direction you want if you want to go with further processing. Silience asks, favorite sounding kit so far? What's the name? This is called Octo Deep Snare Kit Dry, and it's from the Circles 1987 drum sample pack. So yeah, you can see the name over here. Again, the contact interface is really bare bones. It's really meant to be able for you to access the samples here and play in some sort of a decent way, but there is no further interface here. So yeah, that's what you get from them currently. Okay, this one is called Octo Deep Snare Kit, and this one is not dry. So I suspect this one is going to be, we're going to hear some of that 80s reverb. So let's check it out. So you can hear that gated reverb, which is actually a lot more interesting and usable than I expected to hear. Excuse my crappy playing. Okay, that's quite kind of fun, and I'm kind of surprised how little I, in fact, with the stylistic choices that I would go for if I wrote some music with this, it's not like I'm not immediately thinking just about like the 80s. Like it seems obviously it would be home in that environment, but I could use that in other styles as well. It's very, I think it's smartly mixed. Okay, next up, Octo Kit Dry. So again, no reverb on this, I presume. Excuse me, how many toms do we have? I'm not great at math, but I think that's 7. That's pretty good. Oh yeah, actually this patch goes beyond this octave, so let's check what's there. Okay, that's so good. First of all, again, the snare is great. The kick drum sits in a perfect place. This is super useful. Super useful. I did not expect to get such a versatile kit out of this. Like, this is genuinely brilliant sounding. Forget about the 80s. Like, you can use this for so many genres. To me, it seems like those 80s patches are kind of like an added bonus, at least when it comes to these contact patches. But this is really, really good. Cillian says, very nice cymbals. Yeah, I mean, this is good stuff. I kind of don't want to stop playing this, so... Yeah. Okay, let's continue on. That is brilliant. And it's so versatile. Okay, Octo Kit. So again, I suspect we're going to hear a bit of 80s reverb. So let's check it out. Yeah, you can definitely hear that reverb is more, I'd say, stylistically more emphasized in that style. But again, like, nothing stopping you from using it wherever you want. But yeah, I mean, I think this is the best library that I've heard from them yet, which is obviously a good sign because it's upwards going trajectory. But I feel like these sounds and the sampling there it's more refined. It's incredibly mature, and it's in a perfect place from a producer's standpoint because you can easily take these samples and I can hear that they respond to processing in a very, very good way. So super impressed. And again, you can use these dry kits for whatever they work with. From the kind of social media and the other stuff that I saw, I thought this was going to be like an all-in, all-out 80s type of a thing, but tremendous versatility. Like, you really shouldn't miss out on this based on the name. I'm sure maybe some of these loops most likely have a lot more, going for them in terms of the 80s style. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not going to be testing them right now, but I suspect that might be the case. Cillian is asking, what genre do you think you'd end up writing for these drums? Kind of reminds me of One Is Greater Than Zero, which is, for context, that's one of my albums. But that album has more drowned out drums, I think. Yeah, I mean, you could definitely use these for, I mean, so many genres, like obviously rock, pop, hip hop, even in, I'm thinking about these in the context of some of the kind of singer-songwritery stuff that I'm working on, and this definitely could have a place in that, but I don't know. I mean, yeah, I'd say those were really the main genres overall. And Cillian says, actually, some of these sound like M83's Oblivion drums. Yeah, I mean, they use that kind of like big 80s reverb there. So yeah, from that perspective, you could actually very well use these for that kind of cinematic stuff as well. They're very clear, very hard hitting, and to me they sound like they're going to pierce very nicely through the mix. So, and as I said, you can easily process these into any direction you want. They're not going to be overly squashed or kind of drowned out. A lot of samples use they lose their kind of potency once you start adding something onto it. They can't really stand the processing if you apply compression or stuff like that. So, and that's another reason to have these dry or even dead sounding samples, because they're a lot more agreeable than pre-recorded reverb. But yeah, so that's my my demo review on that. Excellent stuff. I'm so excited about where they're going in the future, because the trajectory has been upwards, and I'm happy to see that they've addressed some of the things that I was personally yearning for. So that's really, really, really cool. And obviously, if you work with loops and one shots, then you're in for a good time. I mainly play in my drums, so I prefer working with contact stuff. But that's it for today's demo review. Not much to go through with the approach that I've taken, but hey, hopefully that gives you an idea of what you can be expecting. This highly recommended. This is really good stuff. So go check it out. Go pay Circles a visit, and let them know where you came from as well, if possible. And that's it for today. Thanks for your time. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for listening. And hopefully this was useful to you. So let me take myself to Streamlabs here. There we go. So I can actually see that I'm closing this stream in the proper manner. But yeah, thanks for hanging out. And I'll see you next time. Finished.